So this door's locked, that door opens, so if you want to leave, that door's open there. How can I help you today?
Well, let's see where to get started here. So basically, the first thing, or the main thing, is that an officer here at your department appears to have tampered with evidence.
Okay.
A police report. So, real quick, I can show you, or it might take a minute, but we got time. So, here is the result of a Freedom of Information request I made on May 23rd, 2024. So that's for you to look at here, and I have it here where I'll show you.
What am I doing with this?
Just hold on to that for a second here.
Would you like me to
yeah, you can
take this and enter it in as a supporting document?
No.
Or?
If you could just start opening and following with me, I have the same stuff here. So
I'm not going to read through all this right now.
No.
We only have a couple officers working.
No,
so.
I'm going to point it out, but this is just for your reference, right? So this is Officer D. Packard, right?
Okay.
And this is his officer's narrative, and there's some differences between this one right here. This is still part of it right here. And still part of the same thing. And then this one right here, right, that was submitted to the court. And so I've highlighted the differences.
Okay.
Whether it's minor,
These are different documents.
typos.
These are different documents. So we have a PC statement to take somebody to do any kind of charging or arrest or anything like that. We have a PC statement. So we just type up whatever we need to establish probable cause. So that is sometimes copy and pasted from your report, but edited.
That's what this is.
Yeah, so the officer's narrative, you write your report afterwards. So if you're doing charging, you'll just establish your probable cause. So these two documents aren't identical. They're different documents.
I know. I can see that.
They can be different. So whatever is in here can be 100% different than in there. You could type this from scratch, but it's always quicker if you copy and paste and then, okay, well, this needs to be more detailed than this. All you have to do in here is establish probable cause, where over here you're trying to put up as much detail as possible in all the other stuff. So that's why they're different.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
It's sort of. I was under the impression that they can make minor changes like corrections for times and dates and names and stuff like that, and maybe and not subtract things from like the narrative.
Yeah. So the report, that there is a system put into place to make sure that what you're talking about doesn't happen. So we have we type up our report. We'll go in and we have an approval status. So we click, we're done typing our report. We do approval. It goes to our sergeant or whoever the lead officer is at the end of the day.
Right.
That sergeant reads through and says, there's like a bunch of typos, or like, this isn't right or accurate.
Definitely.
I'm good.
Oh, it is.
So that report.
I'm David. This is Sean.
So that report goes through a process. The sergeant looks it over. It's in approval status, and then when the sergeant says, yep, good to go, it goes up front to records. Records looks it over, and once it's completed, it's locked in. It can't be edited. Like, we can't go in there and edit it. It'll show any kind of record or history of any kind of editing, but what you're talking about is these are two completely separate documents. So you have your affidavit of PC, probable cause. Mm-hmm. So if there's any kind of charging going on, we type this up. This goes to the jail or to the prosecutor.
Well, and this also goes, to the court, right?
Yeah, to the court. So that is just, all that has to have is the basics, the bare bones, just establishing probable cause for whatever the charge is.
Okay.
The report is more of like a detailed.
What if it's pretty inclusive except for minor adjustments to kind of change the narrative or to omit civil rights violations?
The same thing. Once this is submitted into the court, it's not changed. This document won't be changed after that.
Right, no, but I'm saying that this one is different than the one that was submitted to the court. And then two, I have another question. So this is the one, right? And then you can see here the electronic signature and the date right here, 2/28/2024. Mm-hmm. And then on the same, information request. Here's a handwritten date of 5/19/2024. Is that common, or?
I mean, essentially, we have all these forms and stuff where you type it in there, and then we have to fax it over to the jail. Sometimes the jail's like, hey, you forgot this, and you go, oh shoot, write it in there real quick. Or so this stuff was all entered in there, usually typed in, and if you forget something, you can write it in there by hand. So you can also, we have these forms in our office. We can do the whole thing by hand if we want to. It doesn't have to be typed. So I don't see any issue with a handwritten date in there.
So, but is that common? Is that something that happens a lot?
My guess would be if we got to put the date on there, and then that way the jail probably said, hey, we need the date on there, or something like that.
The jail.
So was that faxed over? I'm not familiar, so I don't know.
This wasn't a jailable thing or anything like that.
Just it has to have the date on there, so it's probably highlighted more of.
And then too, it's strange because it says in here, written, like whited out and then written over, handwritten, the 19th day of March, 2024, at Anacortes, Washington, and then it's handwritten right here, 5/19/2024, and that's May, obviously, and then there's a hand signature from Officer Packard there. So, and the fact that...
And these are all your documents too, so...
Well, no, this is yours. I mean, this came from you guys, right?
You're showing me, so...
The fact that all this highlighted stuff is different or subtracted and omits, right here, this is a big part. Sergeant Clifford made numerous attempts to contact David at the door to the residence. Although David was seen at the window to the residence and being summoned to the door, he ignored all efforts and did not respond. During one attempt at the door, David responded to the request to come out and talk with officers with something to the effect of, "You're not here to hand out candy bars and high fives, dude."
What is your question, sir?
David remained non-cooperative during the efforts by law enforcement to contact him. Then goes on to say, then Sergeant Clifford and I responded to Unit 11. Sergeant Clifford began to address David specifically with his first name, requested that he open the door. And then that's when he said, "No thanks, man." So the way that this rolls out, right, is, I don't know if you're familiar with knock and talk procedure, or like when you don't have a warrant and you want to knock on somebody's door to get some more information or investigate, right? Like, there's a procedure or certain lines, right, that you have to follow. Like, you can only, really knock one session, right? And if you're ignored...
Are you talking about if we have a warrant into the house?
No, without a warrant. If you're just trying to knock and, hey, I got a call about such and such, was wondering whatever, right? So you can't just keep knocking and knocking and knocking or post up, right?
No, we can... If we're trying to get a hold of somebody, we're going to keep on trying to get a hold of them as long as we can, like whatever is reasonable. If it's a warrant or exigent circumstances where we're going to kick the door, then we have to announce 3 times, knock, say Anacortes Police, open the door, Anacortes Police coming in, Anacortes Police. After that, then there's protocol for that.
Well, but as far as trying to get with your own policies, right? Like in your policy manual, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So what is the policy then for warrantless, knock and talk?
Our policy book's about that big, so if you want that, you can ask and see what they're willing to.
I've viewed it and I'm familiar with it. I'm asking you what your policy is. Like, are you under the impression that you can just keep knocking and knocking and knocking, or go and look into windows and stuff like that of a residence without probable cause or exigent circumstances or a warrant?
Entering somebody's house is one thing. Going around trying to see if they're home or get their attention to talk to them about active investigation is a different thing. So, are you talking about somebody? Are you talking about somebody entering your house? Or what are you asking?
No, violating the curtilage, repeated knocks, knocking attempts, coercion, to open the door and come outside, like threats of arrest. You realize.
I think this is something you need to talk to your attorney about.
I'm talking. I'm asking you. So you don't see a problem with what I've explained?
I haven't read your complaint
right here.
Your complaint right now is saying that piece of paper is different than the other piece of paper, and I explained to you that those are 2 separate pieces of paper. They're not
right.
They're
so
not
I have
altered.
Evidence right
they're not
here
altered documents.
Tampering. Yes, they are. This because this didn't go to the court.
So what is your complaint?
That he's altering his record, right, his affidavit, to omit civil rights violations and misconduct.
The
to change
affidavit,
the order
and I explained
of
to you
events.
too, that the affidavit of PC is just establishing PC. It's the bare bones. You can put in as little as you possible. You can say, I contacted this person at this time, they did this, probable cause was established, they were arrested, or there was a probable cause for the arrest or for the crime. That's all that needs to be in there. Everything else is essentially extra.
Okay, so
So-
you can just make up, you can just change whatever, you know. You
This
can
is
say
the
that-
report. The other one is the bare bones one, and you're saying that all the stuff in the report isn't in the affidavit. All the stuff in the report doesn't have to be in the affidavit. The affidavit is the bare bones probable cause. They're two completely
So
different
this
documents.
this is very, you know, has everything to do with the probable cause.
I mean, if we documented every single thing we did in every single call, we wouldn't be able to respond. I mean,
Well,
so you put in,
he obviously
they're
put in
two
the
separate
time
things.
to change it, right? Because he made the minor typos, right, of like, you know, Spiegel in one, Spidel in the other.
Okay.
You know, he.
So I pulled an informational case. You said you wanted to pull a case. So right now, your complaint is that there's altered documents, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
omitting civil rights violations.
Admitting civil rights, what was that?
I'm sorry, what?
You're admitting civil rights what?
Omitting information on the civil rights violations and police misconduct.
Okay, and then altered documents. Docs.
As well as the, you know,
Okay.
all five of these officers,
Mhm.
unfortunately, participating in the unlawful conduct, you know,
Unlawful
of
conduct.
the you know, incident on 2/27/2024.
David, 20 Cascade Guy, to case number, please. Can I get my case number, please?
1706.
1706. Receive, thank you. Okay, so right now your complaint today is
You're welcome, 1253.
there's altered documents, you said there's unlawful conduct. Let's see, what was that? The civil rights violations.
Yep, by Dylan Packard.
Okay.
Terrence Clifford. Joshua Schulten. Tyler Hatcher. And Delmas Farrell.
Cascade stopping. Good.
And then also Officer Pleadwell, whom I called to report this to, and said that he wasn't going to do anything about it.
Mhm.
He said go ahead and put him on the list.
Yeah, I mean, you can come in here and do this kind of thing as many times as you want and add as many people as you want to the list, but what you need to do if you have an issue is take it to court. So coming in here and saying that you're not happy with the way stuff's documented, what are you going to accomplish by doing that, by talking to more officers saying that you think that this isn't right? This is something that goes to court.
It's your responsibility, and you swore an oath, you
And
know,
that's-
to uphold these rights.
That's why I'm here documenting, so
Okay, so what's
we
the
document,
issue?
I do another report saying that you said this, this, and this, so X, Y, Z, there's another piece of paperwork, so if you have an issue, then you would address it, you get an attorney, you'd go to court. So coming in here and doing this, I don't see your,
So you're not going to seek accountability for this kind of stuff? You're not going to, you know...
right now I'm a secretary, I'm documenting what you're saying, it goes to the supervisor reviews it,
Well,
and
can I ask you, Monahan, like, what do you think about it? Like,
From what I'm hearing, you already talked about it. The two documentation, one's the report, and then one's a probable cause affidavit. The one that gets into the court is a probable cause affidavit. That's the one that the court reads and see what determines, hey, this person did this.
right, exactly. And then
And
so...
the report is going to be more in-depth, all the steps that were taken during that incident, and if we include all that in the affidavit, some of that stuff does not relate to what determined that probable cause for
Okay.
that person.
Well, do you mind, you know, going over like the details of the omissions, and then maybe then you can give me an informed opinion on the ethics of that, or?
This is not the time and the place for that. Right now, we have 3 officers covering all of Anacortes. You have 2 of them in the building right now. So we're not going to go through all this. I'll document that you're upset and not happy with the way things were documented, and then you can take it to court. You can talk to an attorney. You have the documents.
Well, I'm asking you basically if you're going to take it, take it to the chief, take it, to the officers, take it to oversight, or is this just kind of going in the trash?
So why did you ask
list?
to speak to 28?
Because I had an incident with him yesterday, and I had a good interaction with him. He seemed like a.
So it's not because he's the lowest number on the totem pole today. Most likely, if I were in your shoes, I'd be asking to talk to the chief. The person
I've been there with the chief, and the chief ignores all my emails and stuff. I got him saying that he reviewed the badge cam footage and everything, and
Yep.
and totally stands behind their actions, which is sad because it's clearly
So
evident on the badge cam.
So does that
of misconduct?
does that make sense though, that you'd go as high up as you can? And if
I gotta go everywhere, man. Like
Can I
every
can I
officer.
finish?
I don't know how many of you are there. Like, if you could give me the roster, I'll take this to everybody and be like, "Yo, look, what do you think? Can you help me?"
What
here?
are
Can
you
do the right
accomplishing
thing?"
by talking to every single officer? What you need to do is take it to
I'm doing the
court.
due diligence, man. I'm doing what you should be doing. I'm taking this.
My job is not to review every other officer in the building's report, and
I get
so
it, man. And it
you
puts
do
you
that.
in a tough position,
You do
right?
that
'Cause
in court.
These are your bros, and I get it and stuff. But it's this kind of shit can't continue, and.
I recommend you consult with your attorney.
Let me get on to
and
my second thing.
I'm not going to
about
sit
the
here and go
court
through
records.
all that
No,
right now. So
no, 'cause there's some
I'm going to give you your
issues
card and
with
your case number, and you can talk to the chief or somebody else. But I'm not going to go through all that.
Now, the evidence I have of tampering with court records with
You
the
can
court
talk to somebody
clerks.
above me. I'm not going to go through this. We only have 3 officers. I'm not going to go through this.
Ryan, can you help me take this report or see this evidence of court record tampering?
The officer may already explained, if there's an issue with the reports and everything, you have to take that up with your attorney.
Sorry to waste you guys' time.
You like the case number?
Yeah, yes, please.
All right. Case number
Is
is
there a detective too that or anybody else?
you don't just talk to every single person in the building. You talk to
You get somebody to do something.
the tall, the person the highest up there, a captain or a chief, and it sounds like you already talked to the chief. So if you're not happy with that, you talk to your attorney and you take it to court. Coming back here and asking to talk to every single person working on every single shift isn't going to solve anything or change anything. Does that make sense?
Eventually it will, yeah, if I talk to the right person. I was hoping that would be you.
No. So do you have a pen for your case number?
If you give me a moment.
Okay, 25. Check that. 25-A-0-1706.
Your name's a Maurer.
Yep. M-O-W-R-E-R. It's all faded off there, sorry.
All right, well, like I said, let's go over. And so you can't give me any detective or any other in between yourself and the chief, because
No, you can call dispatch and ask for somebody else, and if they're available, detectives don't. I mean, you can make appointments for detectives or make appointments for chief or captain or so on. But the next step I'm saying is you take it to court, you get an attorney and say, hey, I've got an issue with this, here's the evidence, all that stuff. They have legal knowledge that I don't have, they figure out what to do with it, and you go from there. But coming in and talking to every single officer is
well, is this
not the
something that
appropriate
maybe
action.
you could discuss with your supervisor to run by him, and see what their advice is.
I'm pretty sure they're aware. I can go talk to them. So
Yeah,
are
that'd be
you
cool.
requesting a phone call, or what are you asking for?
I believe I just asked if you could run this by your supervisor and see if.
Yeah, so essentially, our conversation, I go in, I'll type up a report,
And you can
and
say
they,
that
and it's,
I'd like
they
to-
do briefing every single day.
What I'm asking for is anybody between you and the chief, basically.
To come in and
talk
sit
to
down,
you.
sit down and talk to you right now,
that would be
or
great,
okay,
yeah.
I can go ask. Like,
Or-
most likely, the answer is going to be no, but I will go ask.
Okay.